Welcome. It's Friday, and that can only mean one thing. It's the wrap up. You're here with Johnny from Team Superdad. And if you've not joined us before, well, then this is basically how we celebrate the end of the week. My good friend Glenn will be joining us in just a moment. And apart from that, get comfy, get yourself a beer, because this is the wrap up.
Welcome to Team Superdad. Real dads creating their best lives ever. More time, more money, more fun. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.
Glenn, good evening. How are you, sir?
Good to be back, Johnny. Good to welcome you back to the land of the living after you celebrated your birthday in debauched style, no doubt.
Yes, actually, as far as 47 years worth of birthdays go, it was quite debauched, actually, which was good. Getting drunk with your kids is always funny.
Your kids were hammered.
Yeah, I gave them a few beers as well. Yeah. No, getting drunk in the company of my children. I'll share with you in just a moment exactly how that went. But yeah. Suffice to say, I'm not very good at Yahtzee or not post beers. So yeah, anybody who's joining us for the first time, welcome. It's good to have you along. And for people that are coming back, bloody good to see you again. The wrap up is our Friday night adventure as part of Team Superdad, community of motivated men, dads creating their best lives ever. We focus on the areas of focus, fitness, finance, family, and fun, so that you really can have it all, you know.
You can effing have it.
You can effing have it. Wherever you're joining us from, you're welcome. We have a lot of people watching on the live, and actually a lot of people who watch the live session afterwards, aka the replay. So if you're watching the replay, then give us a little hashtag replay. If you're watching the live, though, that means you can chit chat and say hello. So if you're hearing me say this right now, then give us a comment, and we'll bring you into the show. You can ask Glenn or I a question. Could be a hot in the 90s question. Could be really anything that's not too intellectually challenging. Speaking for myself, of course. Glenn, on the other hand, is very, very worldly and
but he's recovering after a long old week, so my brain isn't maybe at optimal working temperature.
Okay, so whatever the question is, I'll give you a timer. I'll really put the pressure on. So yeah, please share this. If you are watching now as well, let's hit the bell, the button, the like, the retweet, the share, because bringing more dads in to join us is obviously the desire and the intention. If you're listening to the podcast, what that means is subscribe, share it with people you're listening to. Like literally, do that little envelope with the arrow thing. Do a share, send it to your brother, your dad, your mates, and just say, listen to this stupid thing with these two plonkers called Team Superdad wrap up. And yeah, we are in our 40s, so a lot of the stuff we talk about is it's like almost pre-social media days. Like it's the yin and the yang, the dealing with what it was like then and what it's like now, because we've got our kids to bring into the equation, and just how we're juggling that and learning that.
How well do you remember those pre-social media days? Because social media kind of really hit the scene about 2005, 2006 onwards, when YouTube was invented, Facebook came along, and so on. It sort of hit its stride in the late 2000s, and by that stage, I'd never been a single man. I was with my ex since basically I was 17, 18 years old, and so I don't know what it was like to be a lad pre-social media. I can't even remember that long ago. Whereas you're you're a month or two older than me. So how did you find it?
Well, I was working for Lycos, so I was in the digital space, man. So I think I was probably aware of technology and certainly social media before certain people were. I didn't get the first iPhone. I think the first iPhone I had was maybe the iPhone 3, maybe.
Yeah, I think I had a 3GS or something like that was my first one.
Yeah, I made some random clangor of believing that the Samsung Windows phone was better because it was more open and gave you more freedom. A friend of mine's wife, hello Anna, her and I made the same wise decision and were mercilessly mocked for the duration of that tariff, like, because it was pre-Android, so it was just basically Windows phone. Absolute gash. How could Microsoft, as big as it be, just so catastrophically just miss?
Well, it's because they don't. It's because they don't keep the control themselves. They leave it quite open, so other suppliers, other demand providers can actually tinker and tailor and kind of make it their own. And so it dilutes the control over things. And so you're beholden to those suppliers to actually provide the same level of quality service. Whereas Apple, fuck me, they lock that stuff down. So the whole thing is locked away and tied up, and no one can do anything. So as long as they keep their standards high, it all works. Which is wonderful for people who like it, and for everyone else, you know, go off and get an Android.
I suppose. But Microsoft's is a bit shit, really. They bought Skype, just broke it.
It is mad, isn't it? Yeah, these companies, they there's some things they do exceptionally well, and then there's other things which just leave it to someone else, mate.
Yeah, meanwhile, Zoom wanders in and just takes the whole thing.
Oh, it's mad. When it's all kicked off, honestly, I hadn't even heard of Zoom. I thought it was all going to be Skype and WhatsApp videos and FaceTime and stuff like that. And then Zoom comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's just part of the common vernacular.
No, well, worse than that, I've been using Zoom since it started. Then they IPO'd and went, and I never bought any shares or whatever.
Oh, what could have been, Johnny? What could have been?
Story of my investing life. But back to the social media point, I've got some horrific pictures of me at uni, off my basically at raves, at clubs, at prey party. I mean, and that was just the few pictures that exist of that time. You know, that if you've had mobile phones with cameras and social media, because I have a raving background, you know, from time to time, I'll watch an old raving video on YouTube or something will come round, and it's wild. Like, people like gurning and dancing and stuff, and you think, like, if there just been people like ping mobile phones and pictures around there, I don't know. If you've ever tried to take a photo using a mobile phone when you are of a different mind, then you quite often, like, even though you're looking at one screen, you can see like 3 or 4. So I guess I'm not sure it would have been that easy. But plus, you'd have lost it all the time. The amount of times I lost a lighter, you know, get through 5 or 6 lighters a night. So yeah, there's no way your mobile phone would have made it through anything more than a couple of nights out. But I can't think even in London days, when we were living in London and having it big after work and stuff, 1998, 99, 2000 into 2004, still wasn't really any social media then.
No, not a thing. Yeah, and you'd have to take a separate camera out. Camera phones didn't come around till what, 2009, 10, something like that.
So my first digital camera was 2001, I think, and I've always taken pictures. Like, I've got literally thousands of photos from old rolls of film in photo albums. You know, some of them, when they started doing them on CD, I got them on CD, so they're digitalized. So then they're like, so they're just like, there is a lot of photos I've got. I've got a problem that it cost me too much money to put them all in the cloud.
What? Jesus, how many? I mean, pretty much at the moment, Google Photos is free for uploads as long as it's not HD.
They flipping downgrade all the quality and stuff. I've got nearly 2 terabyte of, if I put all my digital photos and videos in the cloud, I've got just under 2 terabyte of photos.
I would be petrified about losing them or breaking it.
I've got them, but so it did once. I had them on one hard drive once, and it failed, and I was getting quoted things like £1,200, £1,500 I ended up paying £700 to have the photos saved off of the hard drive. So now I've got them backed up onto some like cheap cloud service, which isn't really a photo service. So they're backed up there. I got them on about 4 different hard drives. I've got the last 3 years on Google Photos as well.
And how many times have you looked at them?
I look at them quite a lot, actually.
Okay, so you got value out of your 700 quid then?
Oh, massively. I mean, that was just history gone. That's a lot of photos, a lot of fun, a lot of good times. But yeah, nights out, like flaming sambucas. I mean,
this week I've been getting back into nights out.
You've been in London this week.
Yes, I have, because the week before, the only time I went out was to get my COVID jab. Absolutely wiped out the next day, and I had my kids, and it was horrible. It's the first time they've seen me ill, and it was not nice. I hated it.
Which team are you with? Which COVID jab team?
Oh, with the AZ Massive.
AZ Massive. Me too. I can't do that finger snapping thing, but AZ Massive as well.
Yeah, when it comes there, we'll take the fires a lot down in the forthcoming vaccination wars for sure.
Yeah, when they turn us on, we'll be like.
But it does mean that I felt a bit more comfortable going out as well. And yes, you're still masked up and all that sort of stuff. But when I lost my kids to their mum last Friday, went out. I spent all day Saturday walking around London with a mate, just wandering around, seeing what was there, going into bars and pubs and restaurants and stuff. And even on then, because it was the 2 days before the indoors stuff opened up, there was still so much outdoors. It felt like normal. And then was out. So I had the most amazing paella on Monday. Tuesday was out for. It was just drinks with friends and going out to a restaurant indoors. Again, catching the last train home. Wednesday, drinks, catching the last train home. Thursday, drinks with friends in Walthamstow, catching the last train home. It's got back to that stage.
Was it like a walk of shame last train home? Because normally, if I'm on the last train home, I'm like eating chips by the fistful out of the McDonald's bag, and then falling asleep with my head on the window. What is it? That kind of last
train? It was fairly lucky. I mean, I've developed a fair old immunity, not immunity, but I can handle my alcohol fairly well, and so. But there were obvious. Went out on Thursday. It was 4 pints of nothing. 4 pints of craft beer or whatever it was. And one of my mates who was out, he's only recently had a kid. And he stood up to go to the toilet. And you know when someone's standing there and they're swaying and they kind of step back because they've lost all their balance and stuff. He just couldn't do it. He hasn't drunk for so long. That was it. He was gone after 4. He was his night was over. And so yes, there was a lot of those people on the train. So I admit the first night on the train home, I did fall asleep, but I woke up at my stop. Literally as we pulled in, doors open, shit. Oh, this is me. Up and get off. That's the closest I came this time round to missing my stop. But God, it feels good. My new office is in London Bridge. And so it is in the centre of London, which is beautiful. And it means also it's not right near the station. So it's not when I was in Victoria, I'd pull into Victoria, go to the office and then come home. That was it. It was nothing to it. Whereas if you're somewhere else, there's a bit of travelling involved and you feel you're in the city more. And I love it. I absolutely adore. There's something about the grey, and not in a bad way. It just the colour palette of London. There's something about it which just calls out to me on an instinctive level. I'm a London boy, and there's no other city like it in the world. It's just I just love it to my very core. Even
the mass gentrification of London. Do you miss some of the rough bits?
Yeah, so I grew up on a little council estate in Walthamstow, and where I went drinking, it was halfway from the tube station to where I used to live. Now, it used to be outside, so you go past a really rough pub, nightclubby type place, over the road to a dodgy kebab shop, and you'd be walking past industrial estates, and it wasn't particularly nice. You definitely know where all the alleyways were. You'd know where all the big bushes were, and you'd plan your route accordingly. Now, I walked out of there, and there's high-rise, expensive blocks of flats. All of the kebab areas now are kind of full of craft shops and trendy barbers and shit like that. And what used to be an industrial complex where there was like glass blowing and warehousing and factories and all that sort of stuff. It was this, they'd gutted it, filled it and made it into a brewery, and like a beer keller type place of just trend. All the food was fucking vegan food and homemade craft ales, and everyone in there had a beard. It was that kind of place. And it's one of those weird things, because I lived literally like less than 5 minutes walk from it for 30 years. And I think it's one of those things where I know I would hate myself, but I fucking loved it. It was so nice. The local pub, they were saying, we shouldn't, that pub, probably let's not go there. And I said, yeah, you're right. Because in my head, it's a crack house. But they said, no, it's just too many kids and yummy mummies going to the creche there. And it's just a bit too trendy. It's like new owners have turned it from crack den into play den. I don't think I'm ever going to wrap my head around how nice where I used to live now is. And I left there by choice. I did not do this.
Yes. Whoops. I never sat in a crappy pub thinking, maybe I did, but like when the carpets used to be like paisley carpets, still would have fag burns in and sort of be mildly soggy from the night before. Like it didn't. Maybe now you'd be grossed out, but it was just that there wasn't any alternatives, and so it was just that's what it is. And so I know my most local was one of Sky's top 10 roughest pubs in the country. And there was a bunch of people who you'd go, whatever pub you were going into, a dozen or sort of half a dozen around the area, that you'd walk into, and you just knew if these people were in the pub, it doesn't matter what's gone on, there's going to be a fight. And they could be happy and laughing. And one of them, it was a massive unit, had a hippo's arse for a neck, that sort of muscle face. And you just knew, especially if Spurs had lost, at some point in the night, that scene in Trainspotting where Begbie just picks up a pint glass, throws it over his head. You just know that at some point in the night, no matter how heavy the bar stools were, he would pick one up and lob it at someone, and you just have to try and break it up a little bit. And I mean, literally, he could be swinging his arm, I could be literally hanging off of his arm, and he wouldn't even notice. But it was just that sort of place. But that was home. That was it. And most of the time, it was lovely and fun and great. And it's not like that anymore. In days before pubs had bouncers.
Yeah. Although the nightclub we walked past, it's now long since shut. I remember once me and my brother threw a party that was so, for want of a better word, epic. We actually hired the bouncers from the nightclub because there was so many people who were turning up. So we had the local nightclub bouncers on my front door to keep things under control. Wow. Oh, it was mad. My parents had gone away here for like a holiday, and yeah, sort of we had bouncy castles in the garden and fireworks and proper nightclub DJ sets, and it was mad. One of those things where it set the bar for parties that we never even got close to achieving ourselves again. But it was just one of those nights that's almost the epic moment at the end of a movie. This is what you're working to. And then you have to try and clear it up within 24 hours because your parents are coming home.
The perfect storm. I had one of those we moved to a house in Streatham Hill, and it was the time when I went to Amsterdam, and left my mate with these new housemates that we just met, these women. And so they had a house party, and oh my gosh, it was so rare. That movie Kid and Play, House Party, the movie Kid and Play House.
Yeah.
It's brilliant old school movie. So at one point it was so full up in the house, to let more people in, to open the front door, you had to say to everyone, move forward, and they'd be like, forward. The front door would open, you get some more people in. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm standing on our doorstep, and the police are there. And it had been quite a wild night. And so I'm laughing, I've got a beer in my hand, and I'm laughing, going, turn it down. Blimey, you should have been here at 1. You think this is loud? Yeah. Good times. I don't know. Wouldn't we like to throw a party like that? I bet it'd be shut down within half an hour now, probably.
Oh, probably, yeah. And let's be honest, my neighbours would never stand it. They'd be moaning and so on, and it would just. But I miss house parties, and that's one thing I'm determined at some point in the next 12 months to go to at least one really good house party and just be around people that I don't know, or some of them I do, and you're standing up talking and everyone's in the kitchen and there's music playing and food and drinks, and I just want to do that.
Yeah. Well, especially with the Euros coming up.
Yeah, no, that's an excuse to do it. And it's not long now, is it? A couple of weeks and it kicks off.
Like literally 28 days or something crazy. If you're listening from a different part of the world, the Euros.
Euro 2020.
Euro 2020 with a 12-month blip delay. It's a football tournament, funnily enough, between teams from Europe, national teams from between Europe. And it's actually better than the World Cup because the standard is a little bit, there's less crap teams. Obviously, we don't have the South Americans, which is a shame. But it is a bit more exciting, I think, than the World Cup, personally, until you get to the later stages of the World Cup. Did you see on the news today some Saudi Arabians, right? Why are the Saudi Arabians suddenly like sports experts? Some random Saudi Arabian dude or gang has made a proposal to FIFA that the World Cup be every 2 years.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Like as if there's nothing else happening in the footballing calendar, and they've just come up with this good idea to put it every 2 years.
Yeah, so you got the World Cup every 4 years, the Euros every 4 years, but it kind of leapfrogs each other. So every 2 years there's a major international tournament. Yeah. So every other year the players and coaches actually get a rest for the summer, but then every other year they're back into international tournament mode.
That's going to be brilliant. Normally the whole of England, and this year Wales and Scotland are in it. So the whole of Britain, just as we're coming out of lockdown, is going to go into Euro 2020 in brackets one mayhem.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I plan to take full advantage of it. I know last year the World Cup, we got loads of tellies in my sister's garden, and so she's got a big old house, and so we'd have 30, 40, 50 people in the garden just watching various tellies, and that was how we watched the England games, most of them. This time round, if it's an England game, I plan to be where there are a lot of people. I'm not talking about a box park type place, because that gets a bit stupid. Where they score and everyone just instantly throws their beer in the air. And I've been playing. So literally, people are they're holding their beer, and as we get ready to score, they pick up their beer so they can throw it in the fuck. Drink your beer.
No, I agree. I can't understand, especially in a crowd like that. It's taken you. Maybe this is our age, Glenn. It's taken you 40 minutes to get to the bloody beer thing. Or you trundle your way back through the crowd. Harry Kane sticks one in the top corner, and you chuck your pint up in the air.
Get a bottle. If you really want to throw something in the air, get a cup of water. Now everyone will like that. It won't be sticky. No one gets annoyed, and you've still got your beer. So yeah. Come on, people.
Lots of bits getting thrown in the air. I think there is.
Oh, probably. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna make the most of the summer when it arrives, and see as much of the Euros as I can.
It's a bitch for work, though. I've got to be honest. I don't get anything done. I can't really afford to not get anything done at the moment. I don't know.
Oh yeah, this is great. No, you can't see my setup, but I've got multiple monitors and so on. And so whenever there's a sporting event, I just have the sport going on one of those monitors, and so I can see it and tap away and watch it and have it going on in the background. It's actually quite nice.
You can watch Norway versus Portugal.
I do. I'm one of those idiots who just watches every single match, because, like you say, a lot of it is really good football.
I agree. I'm the same. My dad's the same. I'm the same. What can we do? We don't know what to do. Win the lottery, watch the football, buy a load of TVs, and take them to your sister's house, and it's all going to be absolutely sweet. Absolutely.
It will be. I'm looking forward to it. And talking about looking forward to the Euros, I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow. As we record, tomorrow sees Eurovision coming along. The delayed one from last year.
You're a Eurovision fan.
Love it. Never used to be, but since I've become single, it turned from this kind of quite ironic thing And I've actually really enjoyed it. And yes, most of the songs are shit. And yes, most of like, the countries vote for whoever. But every year, there's a couple of really good tracks. And the whole thing is pageantry and silliness. And as long as you've got a really good drinking game lined up, bam, that's an evening of unbridled joy and hedonistic entertainment.
And are you on Twitter with your, Twitter crew kind of chit-chatting as this is happening, doing a shot because hang on, sorry. Just so people, the Eurovision, it's a song contest. It's not something it's not a vision thing. It's a song contest. All the countries from Europe are in it if they want to be. And 90%.
Well, now that they have to do qualifiers now, unless you're one of the I think I can't remember how many it is. There's a dozen or so big players who put in loads of the money. So the UK, France, Germany, stuff like that. They put in more money than everyone else because
like a quid in the pot,
kinda. So they put in more, and so they get guaranteed a place in the final. However, all the other countries, and weirdly Australia as well,
they're like a special guest.
Yeah, they were there as a they were there as like a for one year. It was one of the anniversary years. They got invited just to do like a side performance, and it did so well that next year they invited them to be part of the qualifiers. And so this is the first year since they've joined that they haven't actually qualified. Otherwise, it's so weird having Eurovision and Australia. But yeah, so they've got all the qualifiers happening at the moment. Semi-finals 1 and 2 have been Thursday and Friday, but then the best ones plus the big players all go into the final tomorrow. And it's worth watching for no other reason than Graham Norton is one of the bitchiest, most brilliant commentators in any weird entertainment show out there.
Oh, still not sold. But
your drinking game. So every time there's a moment where someone's singing with the wind flowing through their hair, you drink. Every time there's traditional costume, you drink. Every time one of the presenters has a costume change, you drink. And before it doesn't really matter what happens because you're just getting wasted.
Is there a dating dad drinking game checklist for you?
There is, yeah. And you don't have to drink. You can play bingo and cross it off and win chocolates or whatever. But yeah, there's Eurovision drinking games and a whole list of things to look out for. And it's one of those amazing moments. And you end up having arguments of like fun arguments with people about does that count as a bitchy comment? No, this would be a bitchy comment, and that's not. And it's great. It really is. I've got to recommend it. And an excuse for loads of food and drink. So I've got my kids this year, so I'm not going to get wasted. But we're going to go out and basically get different food and drink from around Europe. So we're going to get like German sausage and Swedish meatballs and some Greek feta cheese and cheese from Italy or from France and so on. So we're just going to have this massive spread and just graze all night. It's going to be lovely.
And it is okay to get a bit drunk with your kids. As I mentioned, we were at the Caravan last weekend for my birthday. And I was with a mate of mine who's like one of my oldest friends. Do you remember I told you the story about when he fell down the stairs, broke the plates, pulled the lights out the wall and ended up in hospital?
I remember that one well, yeah.
Yes, well, it was that friend. So Matt and I were in a weekend, sun holiday, £9.50 weekend holiday caravan in Selsey, which is like Bognor Regis, West Sussex, South UK, and a caravan. Nice caravans. I don't suppose there are crap caravans anymore, but nice caravan. The only weird thing is the beds are really thin, like sleeping.
They're thin. You're talking about the mattresses being thin?
In width.
Ah, sort of a narrow, sort of belly wider than your shoulders.
Have I ever laid in a coffin? I don't think I have laid in a coffin, but I imagine exactly.
The night is yet young.
Would imagine exactly what laying in a coffin is like. But apart from it was the weekend, it was the lockdown measures ended on the Monday, so the fairground was shut.
Ah, that's annoying.
But not to mention it was flipping blowing a gale like it still is now, raining, and there was a little bit of sunshine, but Matt's always been a good drinker. When those mates who it's the end of the night you stopped drinking at least an hour before because you couldn't possibly imagine what it would feel like to be any more drunk.
Mhm.
Whereas there's that mate who carried on. He probably did a bit of a naked dance at some point on the dance floor. When you get in the taxi to go home, he pulls a can of lager out of his pocket and opens it, and you're like, A, how could you possibly drink any more? And B, where on earth did you find a can of lager between the pub and this taxi? Like, I don't have no idea. So that's Matt basically. And I paid for the caravan and sorted all that out. He sorted out all the food and the beer, and there we were drinking beer, like good old days. But I had my kids with me. He had his boy with him, and Rosie had a mate. So we're playing Yahtzee. Well, we played loads of different games. Right? We're playing Yahtzee. Oh my gosh, I was awful.
How bad is awful?
It's a dice game. I couldn't get my head round what I needed to do.
Well, they've got rules. I mean, just read the rules.
They were like, "Do you want to go again?" I was like, "I don't know. Do I want to go again?" Well, you could pick up those 3 and roll them, but if you don't want to do that, you could pick up those 2 and roll them. I was like, "But what?" Okay, right. So when I woke up in the morning, I did kind of have the hang of it because I kind of played the scene through my mind. But yeah, tricky game. Yahtzee.
Yeah, especially when you had a few, it gets really, really rough. Although, yeah, when my brother and I had an evening of watching the boxing, and he decided he was staying over, and we were drinking, and it got to about, I don't know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were both rather pissed, and decided to watch Countdown. Cats does Countdown.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah,
and play along. And there would be forfeits. So basically every round, whether it was numbers or letters, the loser, I got sets of weights. And so the loser would then have to do like 10, 20 reps on each arm and so on. And my brother's a bit of a, so his weights were, I don't know, let's say 30 kilograms. I was doing 20.
but you're more drunk because it sends the blood rushing through your.
Almost certainly, yeah, because you process alcohol at the rate of 1 calorie per minute or whatever it is. And so the more calories you got inside you, the quicker the alcohol gets absorbed and so on. Or rather, the fewer calories means that the alcohol calories get absorbed. But whatever it is, he was doing it.
Quicker, surely.
Or I know you get drunk quicker using diet drinks than you do full fats.
Oh.
But so he as we're doing it, he's a dickhead as well, a proper show off, and he knows that physically he's got me beat. There's no way two ways about it. And so he just kept strapping more and more weights on. Now my weights the bars are only so long, and he just strapped so many on that as he's going like that, the end of it's twisted off, all the weights have fallen off, and broke his foot. So yeah, he ended up having to he woke, barely slept, went straight to the hospital in the morning and got it sorted out. But yeah, we've been kind of banned from proper drinking games like that, where there are a potential injury led forfeits.
Oh yeah, drinking, that whole, like, you got to have a shot if you drink with your left hand or right hand, those whole
I quite like those though. They are quite fun.
Well, no, I'm rubbish at them. You might as well just hit me around the head with a flipping silly bat, basically, because I'm going to be blind drunk in half an hour. If there's any drinking games going on, that's it. I'm doomed.
And it's a weird thing though, because when you're going out drinking, the point is to have some drinks and to get drunk. And so it's weird that the loser is the one who then drinks. Surely it should be you can only drink and enjoy it if you win. I've never quite understood the drinking game.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just the opportunity to laugh at someone else's misfortune, aka Johnny's misfortune, as he ends up ridiculously drunk within the space of 20 minutes, probably does something hilarious for the next hour, and then goes home early.
I shall absolutely remember this every time we meet up over the summer.
Well, my good lady, she was on the train to London today. She went and did her spin qualification final test.
What, as a spin instructor?
Yes, spin instructor, yeah.
Wow. So, that's hard. I've done spin once and I thought I was going to die.
Oh, I love it. It's brilliant. And now I've got a girlfriend who teaches it. So we could come up with all sorts of funky games.
Absolutely.
Work me harder.
Some of them are sadists, absolute sadists.
I love the sweat, like the sheer, just like the buckets of sweat coming up. Go, go, go.
Yeah, not for me.
It's ultra competitive. Well, I like it when they put the numbers on they put the thing on the each bike is Bluetooth to the main desk sort of thing, and you can see up on the big screen. Sometimes they do one side of the room versus the other side of the room, men versus women, or it's not even versus. In my mind, it's versus. Like I'm on bike 14. I can see where bike 10 is. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get you. Yeah. So,
whereas I'm on the equivalent of a penny farthing sitting at the back.
I want to meet the bloke who invented penny farthings. I want to meet that absolute nut job flipping, and like, first of all, he had the audacity to design it. Then he had the balls to make it, and then people believed that it was like the height of flipping. What was the height of stupidity, the height of wisdom? Like what social climbing did you have to reach to be able to sit on the largest penny farthing?
I don't know, but I know there's a massive surge in sales for them recently since the pandemic. There's been an absolute surge in penny farthing sales. They're not cheap. I'm just looking at one now. They range in sort of up to 56 inches in height, and it's £1,300 for one of these things. But yeah, demand has gone up by hundreds of %. It's just weird. Goddamn hipsters.
Here we go. The penny farthing was invented by the French, but made popular by the Brits. Do you know what? I totally buy into that. That is loads of people going, that looks like a right laugh. Let's fucking get one. And then having a bunch of beers and then laughing at their mates falling off of it.
Yeah, they're selling one a day at the moment. And around 95% of people buying them are middle-aged men. It's just, you can see it, can't you?
That's just brilliant.
And part of me wants to have a go on one.
Have they, they've made them more comfortable. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've ridden a unicycle before, and I've ridden on those sort of what feels like quite a difficult thing to control. But penny farthings, they just look mad. Besides the weird, everybody look at me, aren't I quirky sort of value.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Why would you do it? There are much better bikes out there for a lot cheaper.
I've got a picture here of a penny farthing race. There are 8 people lined up in some kind of 1920s picture here, about to start a race. That's just brilliant. That's what I just love about it. It's like a handlebar mustache as well, isn't it? Like, why? Just because I can. Yeah. How the hell did we get onto that subject? Yeah, penny farthings. I'll tell you what I would like. I would like one of those hoverboards. Like, no, they're not hoverboards. They're
a monowheel
boards, longboards. So like the skateboard, it's a longboard. Because they're more like snowboard, like cruising them. But when you push down at the back, it's motorized. So you zoom.
Yeah, I do like the sound of that.
They look. It's obviously you got knobheads on them going quite fast. When you're holding your child's hand and they nearly kill your child, you want to punch them in the face. But apart from that, they do look pretty cool. Have you bought any gadgets recently, Glenn?
Not loads. So I did tell you about my my Amazon Echo Studio things.
Yes, on the last wrap up, you told us how you'd gone big on the Amazon Echo because
and they are brilliant. But I've hit a tiny little of a snag and a road bump because weirdly and utterly coincidentally, I've been thinking about buying a few new things. So I want to buy myself a new Shark vacuum cleaner, a little cordless one. I want to buy myself a nice new set of knives, and maybe one of those Dyson air fan things for hot and cold because this end of the room gets bad. So I'm now earning enough money to buy really good stuff, like the things that I've wanted for a while and that will make my life just 1% better. That's what I'm after. But my kids keep coming home and mentioning that, mum and her boyfriend have just bought a new version of this. It's always a shitter version of the one I want to buy, which makes me worry that I'm just going to come across as someone who's being really petty. They bought this, did they? Well, let me find a better version of that. And I'm not that person. It was total coincidence. We just happened to have bought the same sort of things.
He got a mountain bike. I got a penny farthing.
Exactly that. All about the upgrades. So yeah, I'm stepping back I'm not buying anything for the moment. Keeping my powder dry, and I'll get a load of stuff at some point. But yeah, I'm trying not to spend because I'm trying to save for a house. So I know that everything I buy will be good and used, and it'll be wonderful. But it's also another pound that's not going towards my mortgage.
Yeah, true. The set of knives I've got, I've had them about 15 years, so that's just to show you don't need to. Oh yeah, but then nice stuff is nice. Clearly, nice stuff is nice.
Oh, and it's horrible because, of course, I'm a dickhead, and I've seen. I popped out on Twitter today. Look, I'm thinking about buying some knives. What recommendations you got? And of course, people have sent me tons of recommendations. They're really good, and loads of them. But then you see one person says, "Oh yeah, and these ones are quite good." And it's like £800 for 3 or 4 knives. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's stupid money. But then you look at them and they're fucking gorgeous. They're really beautiful works of art. I shouldn't buy it. I can't justify it, even though I like it and they'll last and all this good stuff. But I could probably spend half as much and get ones that are just as good. But they're not quite.
A home show, and then there's some stand, and the guy's like, you can. He gets an angle grinder out. You can cut the front off. You can cut the concrete with them. You can throw them at a wall and hang up a bear skin with this thing. It's so easy to cut. Why is it so easy?
There's part of me though that wants to try them out, and like go into a shop so you can hold them, feel them in your hand, and so on. But I know I'm also not going to just do like the chopping motion. I'm probably just going to in there and spend the whole time going just. Kind of a stabbing motion and like that sort of thing, and just with a nice kind of middle class air about me. But every knife I'm testing is going to be in a stab motion, just to see what the sales rep does.
Like Dom Jolly, yeah, totally. Can I put this in my? Does it look good inside it on the inside pocket of my suit? Can you see it?
Yeah, do you do inside holsters?
Yeah, go to the Ideal Home. Have you been to the Ideal Home show?
No, tell a lie, I have been once.
Yeah.
And it was so weird because at the time, definitely middle class aspirations, but very, very much working class money when I went. So all these beautiful things, they were just out of my league, just a different world I was living in.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really buy anything. And I feel like it'd be slightly different if I went there now. It'd be too dangerous.
Yeah, true. I just bought random crap. It was like I was in the end room at IKEA.
Yeah.
You look like a fine young gentleman. Let me show you this. Oh yeah, what is that? Oh, I need one of those. I don't need one. I just struggle to say no. I absolutely struggle to say no. I'm a salesman's flipping wet dream. I am. I'm a sucker for it.
Yes.
Good weekend coming up for sport this weekend, Glenn. You got the Monte Carlo Grand Prix, top event in the sporting calendar for our Formula One fans.
It is one of the Triple Crown. You got that, and you've got Indy 500, and I think what's the other one in there? Le Mans, 24-hour one. They're the 3 that you want to win. But it's one of those weird things where I love, as we've spoken before, I love F1. And the spectacle of Monaco is the most spectacular event of the year. Also happens to be arguably the shittest race because it's the streets of Monte Carlo. They're so narrow. There's hardly any overtaking. Yes, there's a ridiculous amounts of skill. And seeing some of the slow-mos today where these drivers are turning around corners literally a centimetre from their tyre touching the barriers, lap after lap after lap after lap, hitting the apexes so perfectly, yet just narrowly missing the barriers. So the skill is immense, but as a race, God, it's dull as ditch water.
Oh, okay. What about these city races where they want to do it in New York and they want to do it in Miami? They were talking about doing one in London, didn't they?
Yeah. And the trouble is, the new tracks that they build invariably are just a bit rubbish. The best tracks are Hockenheim and Silverstone and the older tracks, Spa and there's something I don't know how, but the old tracks were built not for modern cars, and so there's different layouts and different corners. These days, the new designers, they can take the same corners in different combinations, and it just doesn't work as well. And I don't know why, because it should be better. Maybe partly because they build too much runoff areas, there's not enough jeopardy and that sort of stuff. So drivers are just, oh yeah, we'll just go round a barrier rather than going in. But yeah, the new tracks very rarely stand up to it.
Oh, good. Well, interesting insights there on our Monte Carlo. Apparently, Netflix. Did you see the Netflix thing about Formula One?
Drive to Survive. Even if you don't like Formula One, it is addictive. It is such a good show. I can't recommend it highly enough.
That's what I heard. Someone said to me, "Never been interested in Formula One before. What's Drive to Survive? Now we can't get enough of it."
Because it doesn't track, it doesn't care about the races. Yes, the results are in there, but it's all the stories of the drivers and the teams and the characters you wouldn't normally know, everything around Formula One, and not just, okay, now what was the story of the race? In fact, sometimes they barely even cover the race.
Oh, in the episode. Okay.
Yeah. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Definitely worth a look.
Is that Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Netflix. That one's Netflix. Yeah, Drive to Survive. There's 3 series of it. Amazon
are buying MGM. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Amazon are buying MGM. Yeah. Crazy. It's all just going to flip in. They'll just end up being 3 of them again, won't it? Amazon will buy Netflix will buy, or Disney will buy Netflix.
This is one of those weird things where, you know, they started off with just one big provider, and then they've kind of split out, and there are lots of these little streaming services. The big supplier hasn't got any cheaper, by the way. You just have to buy more things to get the same value you had before. And I'm sure at some point there'll be one provider who will just say, well, let's just package this up into one package for you now. So you go back to what it was at the bloody start of it. It just ended up costing you twice as much money.
Yeah, wankers. Wankers. I don't know. I'm not even going to go there. Such a boring subject, but yeah.
And I'm one of those idiots who has them all. And every now and then I'll find a series on one, and for a little while I feel like I'm getting value out of it. But then the rest of the time, when you forget about it, it's like, God, why am I spending money on that every month? Luckily I got it for free, but I've got, is it Apple TV? I've got a year's worth of Apple TV. Right. I've not looked at it once. There's too many other things to watch. I just haven't got time for another entire channel to add to it all.
No, I've got most of their decent series. I've got them on the dodgy, so it's fine. On the old Fire Stick, so it's fine.
Yeah. And also Amazon, there's a weird thing. When I went on there, a friend of mine came around to watch a movie. And as we've put it on, it's like, oh, yeah, this isn't part of Amazon. You have to subscribe to another sub-channel within Amazon. I don't even know what the name of it was, but there was hardly anything of any good on there. But it was another £5 a month. And you can get a free week of it, so you can watch the movie you want to watch. But there's like 6 or 7 different versions of this. So on top of your Amazon Prime, just to get things through Prime, you're then paying whacks of more money. It's a beautiful con. I salute the person who came up with it.
Yeah, I need to get you a Fire Stick. We'll juice up a Fire Stick for you. And so what does this weekend look like for you, Glenn? What we talk? Obviously, don't want to go over sport and stuff again, but have you got any fun lined up this weekend?
Oh yeah, I'm actually, as well as Formula One and Eurovision and all that sort of stuff. I've booked my local restaurant to take my kids to on Sunday afternoon. It'll be the first time I've taken them out in like a year or so. And local restaurant, you want to, now more than ever, they need people to be going and eating out. So yeah, me and the kids, we're out. I'm going to get them properly dressed up as well, dressed up nice and as posh as I can. And go down to the local Turkish restaurant and enjoy a sit-down meal with my children.
Good.
How about yourself?
I haven't got the kids this weekend. I'm taking Jago's playing football on Sunday, so I'm taking him to that. Mm-hmm. COVID jab number 2
this weekend,
tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Oh blimey! Good luck with that.
Yeah, I didn't get to do a workout today because I ended up working later than I wanted to. So I'm going to go for a workout in the morning, then straight for the COVID jab number 2.
Mhm.
The good lady is coming over in the afternoon. She's going to a friend's 50th or a friend's sister's 50th.
Mhm.
Starts at 3, and they're going to be drinking. So I'm going to be picking her up about 10:30, and she's going to be absolutely steaming. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that could be quite funny. And on Sunday, don't know. Work. I got to keep pushing Team Superdad. The Hero Academy is the paid group, the kind of the upper sexy stuff.
Mhm.
We've been doing training in the Team Superdad group on Tuesdays now. So every week I'm having to get ready to plan and create content and sort out the person who's coming on to do the training and basically have that up on the Tuesday.
Yeah, I've seen you doing some great stuff on finance. You did one this week on sex as well.
The sex one was good. John is a dude. John is part of Team Superdad, and I met him on Twitter, actually.
Mhm.
He used to be one of the directors at Brighton FC back in the old days. He was the youngest ever merchant navy ship captain, like in
Blimey.
the 60s or something. And he said they were basically sailing the world's seas, right? But it was kind of before, obviously they had radar and thing, but it was before they were too bothered about you sticking to the exact route you were supposed to be on.
Right, okay.
He said to me, he goes, "Oh yeah, it's brilliant. We would like, as we were passing some islands or whatever, we would drop anchor, row ashore with booze, cans of coke, like things that like Western stuff that you know these countries would want." And he said that they would just land and party,
Nice.
be women and shagging and drinking and partying, and he just said it was crazy. And you get back in the boat, row out to the thing, and off you carry on for your next leg of your sailing. He said to me, he goes, "There's stories I could tell you." But now he met someone when he was 67 and fell in love. She was all into this kind of sexual awakening stuff, and so John happily talks about his sexual awakening at 67 and how the best sex of his life, and now they coach people to transform their sex lives.
Nice. Okay.
And it's guess what, it's all about communication.
Yeah, it does seem like one of those when they're talking it through, I'm guessing it feels so obvious at the time, but you need constant reminding.
Yeah. And you know, you can go to the Team Superdad group. The training is still free at the moment. It's just sat there in the Team Superdad group, and it will move to the Hero Academy training lounge. But yeah, it's just cool. It's just like, and
Were there any tips on how to actually start a sex life? Because it's been far too long.
you know, I'm the wrong person to ask. I had a 5.5 year walk across the desert, so I'm making up for it now.
Yeah, I've had 5.5 months, and I'm ready to turn to the other side if it gets me some action.
I believe that you're going to have your little, if I'm coaching you, we're going to get your super dad vision board up. We're going to create a bubble girlfriend, and if it's not girlfriend, we could have a separate bubble called casual, if you want casual, or you could go what girlfriend, and then you're going to put around the outside exactly what you want her to be like, and then just have that be the future you're living into, and then she will turn up.
I will manifest her.
Yeah, so funny. Someone posted on Facebook this week. Oh, 2 funny things on Facebook. So this first one was not so funny. It's just like kind of a bit deep and meaningful. It said, I forgot, what did it say? It said basically somebody somewhere is manifesting you on their vision board. You're not alone. Like just like
oh yeah, totally, yeah.
So I was like, oh, I know a woman that happened to. And then a much less heartfelt but funnier thing, I guess a little bit heartfelt. Some friends, a guy I know, because I've been growing my Facebook network. I've connected to about 300 or 400 people in the last few weeks, all around growing Team Superdad. And so this guy posted a picture of him inside of Weatherspoons. Not everyone has a good feeling about Weatherspoons, but that's a different subject. This old guy, he'd got fully dressed up because his first time out, first time out for months, maybe even longer. He'd got dressed up in an Only Fools and Horses kind of 80s-esque way, blazer, Farah. He had his watch on, and he's about like late 70s, early 80s. And the guy goes, because you're not allowed to go up to the bar.
Yeah,
so 15 minutes. Didn't know about it. Couldn't get the app to work or anything. They got chatting to him and went and ended up buying him a few pints and getting pissed with him, basically. And they were just saying it was great. First of all, it was shit to see him sat there and none of the staff actually helping him out. And then it turned to them buying him drinks and them having a great afternoon sitting there chatting to this old guy and getting drunk, basically.
Yeah, what was quite good is the whole text on that was something like, seen a little old man sitting alone in Weatherspoons, couldn't use the app and staff ignored him. And so I've seen it on Twitter. But what someone did is they took that text and basically just used a picture of Wayne Lineker. And James Corden didn't realise this, so he's retweeted it as a really heartfelt thing, not realise that people are just using this to take the piss out of how old Wayne Lineker looks.
And who is Wayne Lineker?
Gary Lineker's brother, the sort of man who's in his 50s and 60s, but who insists. He actually put on his Tinder profile, because he's big into that. I won't date anyone older than their 20s. You got to be willing to be treated like a queen. And basically, it was just the most misogynistic, sexist, horrific sort of mentality, and this old man privilege type thing. And you just think that's normal. And women are lapping it up. There's loads of women that are just turning up looking all sexy in bikinis who seem to think because he's old and rich, they'll have a bit of that action.
This is hilarious. He's like a hunky Gary Lineker.
Let me see if I can bring up Wayne Lineker's Tinder.
I'm looking at him.
Oh, his advert. Yeah, sorry. This was an advert he ran. Got to get a blocker flipping thing. But yeah, so he ran this advert basically just to say, this is what I'm looking for in a woman. So you must like older men, but only him. Got to be a worldie. Not my age, as that would just look weird. Because someone his age, that wouldn't look weird at all. Be prepared to give up your career or job, or be able to work from a beach somewhere. There's loads of no baggage, as mine are all grown up. A dog is acceptable, but will need a passport. You've got to love cooking, all this sort of stuff. It's just, it's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Oh, man. What a... Gary Lineker's brother, Wayne, 58, films skin-crawling video of him choosing young date.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. That's hilarious. I wonder where does he make his money? What does he get famous for?
Being Wayne Lineker, Gary Lineker's brother. They've opened bars in Ibiza and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, of course, he looks like a sort of Spanish bar dude, doesn't he? Harry Kane's brother runs all his he's like his manager. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. In that case, I'm going to be writing to Harry Kane's brother with as many begging letters as I can possibly manage. Like, just one more year, mate. One more year.
Harry Kane's brother is his agent and management company, and they have one client, which is Harry Kane.
Mm-hmm.
So they manage it all and they keep it within the family, basically.
Yeah, I think that could work. I just need a talented brother now.
Yes.
Are you listening, boys? Are you listening? Both of you, step your game up.
Okay, so Glenn, actions for us. Johnny, we get an avalanche of new Hero Academy members into Team Superdad. We need to carry on preparing for our obstacle course race on the 26th of June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, carry on preparing. Definitely started preparing. Absolutely.
We need to get some new TVs for the Euros, and we need to get you a date. Are we looking for a shag or some kind of relationship?
Oh, and ideally, the love of my life is what I want. Okay. If she's unavailable for whatever reason, then you know what, I enjoy the touch of a woman.
Okay, so we have got some parameters from one night, from a meaningful one night stand through to something a bit more serious. Well, listen, we're going to do your little. I'll share my my vision board. Girlfriend, which I got roasted for by a couple of people on Facebook when I shared it, but to those people, because I now have that exact person in
exactly who got the last laugh.
And we'll do one for you, Glenn. I think it's going to go like wildfire. Must be into Eurovision. Must be a drinker of spirits. Must love London, because clearly we found out the other week that she didn't like London. So it's already coming together. This.
Well, I've got very few must-haves and lots of it would be great if.
Would be great ifs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Besides the kids thing, pretty much everything. Like if it turns up and she doesn't like football, it's not the end of the world. If she's not a big Formula One fan, if she if she doesn't like spicy food, it's not the end of the world. But let's be honest, the more of those boxes I can tick, the happier we're going to be.
In our 40s, Glenn, it's important that the boxes are ticked.
Mm-hmm.
As my dad's got lots of wisdom to share on this subject of being married 4 times and now being in his late 70s. He says, speaking from someone who's clearly bonkers as hell and a bit of a flipping misogynist and a bit of an arse at well sometimes, they're all fucking mad. The only hope is you pick one who's less mad than the rest.
Oh, haven't they got such wonderful ways with words, parents?
Clearly, anyone could say that about him, right? So
yeah, very true, very true.
So, see you back here next week.
Looking forward to it already.
Good stuff. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe, share, and come on over to teamsuperdad.com/group, and you can put yourself in the free community that we run with all the training and the good stuff that I've been talking about. And I look forward to seeing all your lively comments, feedback, and slurs against Glenn and I in the comments. I'll see you next time. Team Superdad out.
This has been Team Superdad. Find us at teamsuperdad.com. Join the program and create the best life ever for you and your children. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.